This is Allegedly in Alberta, powered by Streamlabs Talk Studio with the Alberta Indigenous Alliance.
Good evening. It is Darrin Thompson, co-founder of the Alberta Indigenous Alliance. It is Tuesday. It's Allegedly in Alberta. Got a few topics we want to discuss tonight. We're looking forward to NJ Mahikan joining us. Hopefully they can make it in. If not, we will do our best to cover the topics that were discussed. As always, we want to connect with you on all different platforms, all across the board there. Like and subscribe to all our channels. You can find us on Substack at abpoly. You can find us on Blue Sky at abpoly.ca and on TikTok at Allegedly in AB, as well as Allegedly in AB on Facebook and Insta. And if you want to do a support, you can support us at ko-fi.com/abpoly. All these links are in the description of the show. And we got word that they're running a little late, but they will be joining us. So while we wait for NJ, we're going to look at a actual topic of discussion here brought up by one of the moderators on the Reboot Alberta Facebook page. And it's John Auger, I believe. And John's had some great content in the past. And today the discussion was on the social contract and why we're sitting here in Alberta, why we're in the state that we're in. And we'll just read the aspects of Alberta's gospel of the Theo-Con rule and the progressive social contract. Faith over facts, authoritarianism in Theo-Con clothing. Alberta is not governed by pragmatic policy. It's ruled by theological conservatism. Theo-Con rule. Daniel Smith's UCP has carried this creed to its logical end. Authoritarianism wrapped in scripture. Under Smith, dissent is branded as hearsay. Regulators are bullied into obedience, and laws are rewritten to protect corporate faithful. This is not representation, it is command. Survives because progressives, particularly the Alberta NDP, have not stood up loud enough in protest. The result? Citizenry deliberately manipulated and becoming crisis monkeys, adrenaline junkies, conditioned to treat politics as perpetual panic. Instead of debating ideas, Smith and her Theo-Con pulpits flood the bloodstream with fear, demonizing the NDP, Ottawa, renewables, healthcare advocates, even teachers. Fear becomes liturgy, outrage becomes communion, and the public is hypnotized into mistaking panic for faith. So the ledger of losses under the Theo-Con rule. The bill for turning Alberta into a cage of crisis monkeys is staggering. $800 billion in lost royalties, well stripped from Albertans to feed oil giants, justified by sermons that framed former Premier Lougheed's fair rates as betrayal. $1.2 billion annual healthcare shortfall, $33 billion renewable projects strangled, costing 24,000 jobs, $1.5 billion wildfire disasters in Jasper alone, $20 billion in deferred infrastructure, rotting bridges, schools, because tax cuts were sold as salvation. Grassy Mountain mining debacle, Smith-backed foreign coal companies against Albertan ranchers and the First Nations, risking headwaters to serve theology. Only massive public backlash stopped it. But it really wasn't stopped, as you know that there was payouts to those foreign companies and such. The reason why this thrives is not just the noise from the pulpits, it's the silence of the progressives. Every time the Alberta NDP refuses to match volume with volume, Smiths and their people grow louder. Every time progressives shrink from the streets, the adrenaline junkies claim victory by default. Alberta doesn't lack evidence, it lacks confrontation. Progressives have abandoned the square, leaving the Theocon manipulators free to convert citizens into mobs of fear-driven crisis monkeys. The progressive social contract breaking the panic addiction. So this is where we get to the point where what is currently happening, how can we solve some of this stuff in regards of the social contract? And it goes back to the definition of a social contract as an agreement among individuals within a social group to abide by certain laws and rules. The basic concept is the consent of people within a society to be subject to rules and laws, given those rules and laws legitimacy. While on the other hand, the social responsibility piece refers to ethical framework suggesting that individuals or organizations have an obligation to act for the benefit of society at large, emphasizing acting in ways that have a positive impact on society while minimizing negative impacts. Examples: sustainable business practice. A company adopts eco-friendly manufacturing processes to reduce environment harm. Ethical investing. Investor invests in companies that adhere to ethical standards and promote positive social change. So why, for the Alberta Indigenous Alliance, is that important? Like we've said in past streams, when we're talking about our merchandise, which you can find at abpoly.ca, with currently all funds going to the Alberta Indigenous Alliance legal fund, as we've set up a GoFundMe on that aspect, and we'll just the link is in the description, as well as we will shoot the link right here. When we're looking at the why we wanted to set up these aspects is we know coming down the pipe there's going to be some legal ramifications coming, possibly at the group, possibly at members of the group, and most particularly going to be supporters of the ISA and the AIA. So we're looking to ask your assistance in growing a legal fund to help cover some of the costs of the people that are abuse survivors who will be facing legal action and will require ongoing support. Your support will help ensure the message of Indigenous sovereignty in Alberta not be erased. And the current target is $4,000. We'd love to reach that, which would cover a couple of retainers. And knowing that if it is something under a retainer with the government, that we're going to they got many millions of dollars. I don't know, at last count, I remember even under the Jason Kenney government, it was like $10 or $15 million in retainers with law firms and legal representation across the country for all different aspects. So we were looking to do something similar. Not to millions of dollars. We'd love to raise millions of dollars, but basically we want to raise the funds for a legal fund, and and we want to be able to help our community in being able to not feel like they are alone in a battle with those that are coming from a place of privilege or coming from a place of subsidy. When we're looking at the aspect, like we said, about the merchandise, we always have promoted ourselves, unlike others in the area. Well, we are very proud to what we do with what we call the Team Canada collection, or the Team Canada process. And what we are proud to do is through my parent company, Game Changers Canada, we made the conscious efforts not to use Shopify. if you're not aware, although Shopify is a Canadian company, it has a long history of unethical decisions and business practices, including Shopify executives' right-wing media website rails against immigrants while defending a legally designated terrorist group. So, right-wing Canadian media website True North deletes interview with the founder of the Proud Boys after being contacted by Press Progress. True North, right-wing Canadian media website launched by Shopify's chief operating officer and their spouse, took down a recent interview in which the founder of the Proud Boys rails against immigrants and floats racist theories. And why is this so important when we're talking about Shopify or talking about True North? Well, True North is the banner thing. I believe they're Juno Media now. They've gone through 3 different aspects of branding. So if you're looking for it now, it's Juno Media. And the big concern is the True North Center for Public Policy. They are a registered Canadian charity performing research and education in the areas of immigration, terrorism, and security. So True North is a registered Canadian charity that is for education on immigration, but their founder is against immigration, and they promote stories and their news programs against immigration. So that's very much a conflict of interest for us, and very much a concern. So that is one of the reasons why we don't choose Shopify. We don't use Printify because it's not a Canadian company, it's a Latvian company. We don't use Redbubble because they are an American Australian company that subcontracts their work to distribution centers around the world. There's no direct contact or control who's providing your print and distribution services in Canada. So when we are looking at the abpoly.ca subsidiary of Game Changers Canada, all graphic design, marketing, promotions, and all customer relations are handled by our Team Canada Alberta team. All apparel products are product of Canada, made in Canada, designed in Alberta, then created and distributed in Montreal or the Greater Toronto Area, which are core distribution centers. All merch products are made in Canada from domestic and imported parts. All merch products are created, printed, and distributed in Canada from our core distribution centers based in Ontario, which is owned by an Iranian-Canadian family with almost 30 years of experience, or a Montreal-based Canadian-owned company that has years of experience as well. And all products sold are the best quality we can find while maintaining an affordable price point. And of course, it's environmental and ethically processed. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about merchandise. And we're going to welcome NJ Mahikan. NJ, welcome. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Yourself? Thanks for having me tonight.
Hey, no worries. As always, you are welcome. And yeah, we were just going through, like we discussed, wanted to talk about the merchandise and what we do, doing it differently than other people. And as you heard in the green room, that we do the Team Canada process, which means that we are made in Canada from domestic and imported parts. So when we're looking at it, we use the most ethically produced and ethnically produced products around, and we also use local vendors looking for the best Indigenous-based companies, like our friends at 7 Stars Apparel. Brian does a fantastic job. Once we have bigger orders, of course, that's when we will shift the products here locally. But at this point, when I know the distribution center in about timing, they've done great work for us. And again, our stuff is ethically produced, so environmentally friendly. We use a just-in-time process, so we don't have a huge inventory of product. All our product is made on demand. So when you order a product through abpoly.ca, not only are you helping the Indigenous Sovereignty of Alberta or the Alberta Indigenous Alliance, you're also providing a environmentally friendly choice when your order doesn't get produced until you've purchased it or you've ordered it. We're unlike other people that buy mass quantities of things and can totally destroy the environment in the process. So we don't use that, and we're trying our best to we know the products are quality because I wear them myself, and others who have purchased them. And we've done many things, worked with athletes organizations over the years, and we've never had not say never. We've had very few issues when it comes to the quality of our merchandise. And if there is issues with the quality, there is process there. If you get back to us, like as soon as you get the product, we'll do our best to alleviate those concerns and make sure that you have a proper product in your hand, because our concern is customer satisfaction. Because this isn't about exploiting labor or exploiting the customer. It's about providing you with a good product with the ability to continue to share our messages.
Yeah, especially when that lasts as well, like normal wear and tear. It'll last for a long time. Like my wife and I, we're looking at getting some shirts as well. So I'm looking forward to it, actually, honestly.
Yeah. And like I said, we came up with some designs. We've got our Indigenous designer, Tyler, working on some stuff. And once they're back from their journey, we'll get those available as well. But right now we've got the Indigenous Sovereignty supersedes separatism design with the Forever Canadian trademark inside the design. And why is the Forever Canadian so important? Well, good news, my friend. We didn't even tell you this, but we're an official canvasser for Forever Canadian. So any of the Alberta Indigenous Alliance or ISA events coming up, we will be able to collect signatures for the Forever Canadian campaign.
That is awesome to hear. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah,
so I guess
I was excited to get that message, and it was delivered there. So yeah, we are official canvassers. So when we are outside the NDP's town hall in Red Deer next Wednesday, we are going to be taking signatures for Forever Canadian. Awesome. As well as providing info on the Alberta Indigenous Alliance and just making sure that people understand that if you don't think people are behind you, or you think that we've had these talks that people are concerned that they're losing faith and they're all alone. You and me, my friend, we're going to prove that they're not alone. And our group's going to
that's very
have
true.
Representation and be outside. And hopefully the NDP are friendly, and I mean, the NDP are the NDP. So hopefully they join us. Hopefully the ones that haven't signed the petition will sign with us having it available. And we welcome any sort of conversations or discussions with the NDP in regards to what we're talking about. I don't know if you heard earlier, we're discussing one of the points was brought up by John Auger today about social responsibility. And he's talking about the biggest problem right now, and we've had this discussion, is it's not necessarily, I mean, of course it's Smith and the Theocons, but it's also the progressives that aren't doing enough. So when the Theocons are getting angry and the voices are increased from like the Alberta Next town halls, we don't have a strong voice coming from the opposition. So that's a discussion we have to have, right? Is if they're going to be what people say that the NDP is the representation of the people, well, we're going to have those conversations on Wednesday to make sure that they understand that we would like a different voice, a stronger voice. And if they don't want to give the stronger voice, then we would politely ask them to get the hell out of the way so the Alberta Indigenous Alliance can be that voice for the people.
Exactly. We can work together stronger and actually be doing it for the people, not just for self-interest or just because they're trying to get clout. And that's the biggest thing I'm noticing. Yeah, and that's the big thing I'm noticing is that's what it seems to be. All it is just pictures, words, and that's it. Like, where's the plan? What are we gonna do? Like, where is that? Where's that? I'm sorry, where's that stupid plan? Because they keep saying there's a plan, but where is it?
And we talk about a plan, and like we were going to get to this later, but you know what? When we're talking about a plan, let's go there. Let's do it, because the NDP don't have the plan, or at least they haven't presented the plan that people could actually tune in and or could learn about or whatever. But I have to go into our show from last week and to the notes, because I didn't. I posted it as a response, so I want to actually read it verbatim of the response that we had, not just the.
This is your six. This is 6-part plan, right?
This is the 6-point plan. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, perfect, awesome. Yeah,
and I was quite proud that my ADHD brain was able to figure out to answer this knowledgeably and correctly and whatever, and it wasn't just a BS answer, like when it was coming from a place that, like, I didn't know if it was coming from a separatist voice or that I think I answered very positively. But like I said, we'll share it and let people understand where we're at here. And
yeah, definitely. Hey, brother, I'm just asking too. Maybe we should put it on our Alberta Indigenous Alliance page as well, so people can view it.
Yeah,
when it comes to the public page. Even in the chat here too.
We'll copy it and paste it. Okay. So there's the thing. So question that we got from Comb Over Chris, which is quite funny, a bald-headed guy, in their response was, what are your ideas for making Canada better? I hear a lot of complaining about Daniel Smith and capitalism. It's easy to complain, just as the separatists are complaining right now. Unemployment, housing costs, food costs, you name it's up across the country. How do we fix this? And they ask communism. And you know what we've talked about with the communism piece, right? That's just something that I think that goes to an extreme when we're looking at communism, because when we're looking at communism, it's always going to go back to the Russia communism.
Exactly.
The wall and all that other crap.
Yeah, dictatorship and just corruption. Right.
Yeah. So we always look at it from a socialist perspective. I mean, if it ends up the socialist communism, as long as the communism isn't coming from a dictatorship, then it's similar values. But we are looking at a socialist perspective, not communism. And we know communism is used, and I'm saying it like 15 times, it's used as a threat. It's the scare tactic. It's the Red Scare. It's all that stuff.
Oh yeah, from back when the Cold War was going on, right? So I feel like they use that as a way to try and silence socialists, because they paint us as Reds.
100%. And that's where we're sitting here going, no, we're not talking about the Soviet alliance or anything like that. We're talking about actual plans to do something, like not just sit here on our hands and hope for the best and hope that we have someone come in and do something good for us. And this holding out for a hero or these celebrity aspects, it just doesn't make sense to me at all.
No, I can confirm that too. I've been sitting here waiting and seeing what someone will do, and nothing. And I'm just like, okay, enough's enough. We got to do something.
Exactly.
Right.
So like you said, we're going to share it. We'll see if we can just share it as a chat message.
Perfect.
And
so let's start with the first part.
Yeah, so we'll go with the first part. And so from my point of view, the first step we have is what we're trying to do here at the Alberta Indigenous Alliance, or allegedly in Alberta, is have uncomfortable conversations and use as much critical thinking as possible when digesting information, as there will always be some type of bias in the presentation style regardless of your source, including this channel. Maintaining an Indigenous sovereignty-led focus with fair and proper Indigenous representation that matters. I think that is what we're looking at for our first part here, and I think we
I think I hits it right on the. I have it like hits it right on the. Hits it.
Yeah.
Because we have to speak to the indigenous population and the people, indigenous people and treaty members. Because if you want to change things, that's where you have to start.
100%.
So even as Canadians, even though the separatists want to be separate, they're not going to succeed because even I've been seeing it all over TikTok and Facebook. There's nothing they can do because it's all treaty land, and it's with the Crown. It's not with Canada. It's not even with Alberta. Alberta doesn't even matter.
Well, we'll get into that as well in some time, because that is one of the things that people were all this whole thing of with Polyev, unfortunately getting in. Let's be real. But anyway, we'll get to that shortly. But the second step is organization, especially around a working class mindset. So that goes back to that socialist perspective that we talk about. Those of us with privilege, so myself with the white privilege, do our best to lift up those facing the largest struggle to survive.
People on Eighth, Indigenous peoples.
100%. And if people are going, well, how does that work? And it's funny because when we're talking about the Red Scare and everyone's scared of China, actually China's done the most brilliant thing when they've come to that second step in organization and working with the people in poverty. So a lot of people don't understand that. And basically for the last decade, China's reduced their houseless and those in the lowest income bracket, like basically wiped out their poverty. And they started with the steps of lifting those people up first and then moving to the next step. So if you can get your people that need the most help first supported and have those supports, then they will be able to, with the proper help, and like if you're on AISH or you are on long-term disability, part of the Indigenous Alliance, we're not asking you to come out and we want you to be standing for 8 hours or anything silly like that. If you can provide great memes, or you can provide great information, or you can watch live panels or the media releases and be able to use that critical thinking in digesting the information, and then we can be able to provide it to our group and provide it to the public of keeping people accountable. Because I think that's one of the major reasons that the Smith UCP are getting away with as much as they are, because they just keep moving things, right? And then the people that have got the largest voice on social media, they just move with what the next thing that comes up. They're not focusing on AISH, or they're not focusing on public health care. They're focusing on what's the next thing. So the next thing is the Alberta Next. So we're going to have the people that have the most popular, who get thousands upon thousands of retweets and shares and millions of views. They're just talking about what the newest thing is. So by doing that, my question is always, when I'm talking about a corrupt politician, I'm always looking at it as a magician. They're always, when you look at a magician, it's look at this hand. Don't look at what this hand's doing. Look at this hand, and make sure you're not paying attention to what's going on behind the scenes. So if something starts to get a lot of pickup and they're getting a lot of pushback, that's when you have to push harder. You don't stop and go to the next thing. So that's the big thing about the organization piece, right? Is that working class mindset. Our point 3, and that goes with that point 2, is we need to have a united we stand mentality with a singular focus per initiative. So right now, our focus should be poverty and houseless and the forced, like basically the police state that we're in. That should be our number one focus here in Alberta, because if you don't fight for the people that can't fight, they're just going to be dismantled. And we're not talking about just we're going to dismantle a encampment. We're talking about we're going to basically make it that they can't live and force them to the Canadian solution for disability, which is MAID.
Yes. There's the word is from when I spoke to Aish about that simple topic about that. They're starting in 2026.
Right. And on top of the AISH, we got greedy corporations and the politicians that support them continue to use deflection and distraction techniques to avoid any real opposition. So we need to ignore that propaganda and push back with a united voice. So when we're saying about these people that have the voices, they're not using their voice to the best of their abilities, right? They're sitting here going, well, this is popular, so it's going to trend. It's going to be, it's about clout. It's not about actually getting anything done. It's about making them more popular and making sure that for most of them that their revenue stream continues to flow.
That is true. Unfortunately. Well,
I'm looking to share it in the chat. It's not gonna let me do it point by point, but we will share this whole thing, this whole document in our on the Alberta Indigenous Facebook page, as well as the Sleek bio page, which has everything to do with the Alliance. Fourth is we've programmed to rely on voting and political parties to represent us. We need to use our united voice to call for an entirely rebuilt system based on individual accountability and coalition representation of all citizens.
Which important.
It's important, and of course that has to have the Indigenous aspects of, like, one of the ideas that I brought up on multiple times is if you want to keep with the current structure of the Senate and the House Parliament, make sure the majority of the senators are Indigenous. So when a bill is presented in Parliament and then has to be sent to the Senate for review, you have an Indigenous input right away before anything gets passed.
Yep. Prime example for that, if I may, brother, is Wab Canoe from Manitoba. Prime example. You speak up. Like when they talked about the residential schools, he called it out. And even today, he's still representing Indigenous peoples and being like, you need to listen to us. Right?
Well, and that's, like I said, we'll get to that about what some of these people feel in listening to Indigenous people or not. The fifth point I had was, as that coalition, we need to rebuild the current capitalist exploitive system into an employee-owned socialist economy where production is based on need and not profit. So ensure a living wage and inclusive structure to enable all those needing accommodations to perform their duties. So when we're looking at people, like they said, with AISH going to the new standards, whatever, basically the way to get people off AISH. You have, if you're going to do that, and people talk about the AI and all that other crap, you need to make sure that people are provided accommodations. So this is like everyone says we're inclusive or we accommodate. Like when you apply for a job, oh yes, just tell us about your disabilities and we'll accommodate. It's a lie. Most times that's a way for them to make sure they don't hire you. Discrimination, but it's not discrimination because everything is done by a AI program.
Right.
It's not a human anymore. So they can just claim, oh, well, we didn't know because the program didn't send us your information. So in addition to that, we need to also provide basic necessities and a universal living wage to all those who are unable to work due to a multitude of circumstances, which then includes AISH recipients here in Alberta and people on long-term disability across the country. And that's where we get into that UBI piece where people want universal basic income. I don't want a universal basic income. I want a universal living wage. So when we're talking about a living wage, you're getting paid for anything that you provide in your life. So if you're a homemaker, or you are a stay-at-home dad, or you are whatever the case may be, you get paid a wage for that. So everyone's always working. Like this whole, everyone's going to work. I'm like, we all work. Just staying alive. So what I'm going to just talk about you personally, as you shared that you were doing some deep cleaning in the house today.
Oh yeah.
You'd be paid for that. That's part of payment. And it would ensure that the government had to pay. So if you're working for a municipality or working for the federal government or the provincial government, they'd have to pay a bigger wage. That means that if there was a private company that wanted to have the same employee, they'd have to match that living wage. So none of this crap where we can have private companies be supplemented by the government for like summer jobs or whatever and not have to pay the employee anything. Or you've got other companies just going, because we're in like one of the worst unemployment states in this province's history, that they can just undercut the wage and know that there's so more people looking for jobs than there are jobs, that they could pay anything, and people will there'll be someone desperate enough to take that wage. And sixth, most important, if all the previous steps are ignored, we then need to come together as a united front and shut down everything in this capitalist system until our demands are met.
Very powerful words, but very true. If it's needed, then it has to be done.
So that's the key, that when we're looking at protests and discussing like what the people are doing, protests or day of action, or even us doing our gatherings are never going to shut anything down. We're going in to have representation for us and our community, and ensure that the public understands that we're there to represent them, and we're not coming in at a oppositional reason, right? We're coming in to have discussions. If people are going to be rude or whatever, then we're going to match their energy, and we're not going to fight or anything like that, because we're not talking about violence, but we're talking about, we're not going to sit here. It's like Twisted Sister from years ago. We're not going to take it anymore.
I was just thinking that, brother. Honestly, I was just thinking that.
It's Dee Snider is one of like, people need to understand, go after or look up Dee Snider. Dee Snider is one of the reasons why our music industry didn't get shut down by Tipper Gore and the rest of these parents when they wanted to do parental advisories and explicit content on albums and all that other stuff. And Dee went to Congress and just basically shut them down. And everyone's like, this is a guy who wears makeup and looks like a girl and whatever. And he comes in and he just like had the most intellectual points and basically put them all to their place. And he has always spoken truth to power. And Rage Against the Machine, we have enough of the musicians that do that. Not saying that we should worship these musicians, because I don't agree in celebrity worship. But if you've got people with a voice like a Dee Snider or like Rage Against the Machine, and they'll share your voice, that's a good thing.
100%.
And if we can all come together with music, like, so this has always been my analogy here. And the last thing, and then we can move on to what we're going to talk about. But people say we can't come together, right? They say, oh, well, I don't agree with those people or whatever. Then how do you explain people coming together for a Pink concert, or Luke Combs, or Jelly Roll, or any of those major, or Metallica or AC/DC, all those major artists that played Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton with 50,000 plus fans? you know, in that 50,000 plus, you're going to have a whole variety of people, right? You're going to have racists, you're going to have indigenous, you're going to have white privilege, you're going to have people in poverty. Like, you're going to have a whole dichotomy of people. And for the most part, people go there because they all have something in common. What's the thing in common? We love good music. So if people could come together for a 3-hour show, 50,000 people, and not have a war, why can't we come together and have a discussion?
That's a very good point. But so it's a matter of getting us to sit down and talk.
Exactly. And what we've talked about before is having those conversations and doing it over some sort of food, or having a coffee, have a bottle of water together. Like, it's having those conversations and coming in. And again, like, when we're talking about having the conversations, the only request we have is people not to use, like, come in with trash behavior, right? So don't be transphobic, racist, ableist, sexist, or homophobic, and we can start there. I don't care who you vote for. I really don't, because it's a color. I mean, I care that you vote for the current, like, MAGA or the conservatives or whatever, because they are ruining lives. They're killing people. But I'm not going to, like, if you're a conservative or you're a liberal, I'm not going to go, well, I can't work with you. You're a liberal. You're whatever. But if you're coming in going, we need to follow what we're talking about, where you're saying we need everyone we got to take care of everyone. We got to come in as a community. Then let's have those conversations. But it's getting to that point, and that's the struggle I've faced for years. You're facing with ISA, is getting people to not hijack the message, right? They want to come in. We want to be the guidance of the group, not leaders. We don't want leadership. We don't want dictatorship. We want guidance. And people want to come in with their own self-interest, and that hurts everyone.
Yeah. Well, so another issue we can bring up with that too is racists are going to try and hijack our message no matter what.
Of course.
Right. And it's a matter of just having a unified front from all of us to say, like, no, stop it. Like, we're here because you're supposed to be listening to Indigenous peoples, and if you're taking a message and taking it away from them, then, like, it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very nonsensical when it comes to these aspects of the hijacking and whatever. Like,
well, it just confirms their hatred, and, like, they're unwilling to work with us. And, like, when we're trying right now to stand against separatists and all this kind of stuff, well, it shows our endurance as well, that we are still holding our ground, holding the line, even though we are very. Oh, sorry. So it also shows their ignorance as well. Sorry, that they're not willing to listen or even just understand. Even when it comes to Indigenous stuff, they're not willing to understand the culture or even just how most of Canada is based off of. Like,
100%, and you do see that with the separatists, but you also see that with what we call the progressives, right? You're seeing that when we're, like, even with the Forever Canadian campaign, that's one of my concerns. When Thomas Lukaszik's going and doing media and talking about First Nations rights and everything, it's right there. It's right in front. But when you go to those events, there's no discussion about Indigenous. It's talking about, should Alberta stay in Canada? And I'm like, absolutely. When it comes to should Alberta stay in Canada, because we are like that we don't want Alberta to be its own separate nation, but we also need to ensure that the Indigenous treaties are represented and understand this isn't just a bullshit story. That, like, I'm looking at the stuff that people need to understand is, now the separatists, now that Polyev has been elected, they don't care. He was never a goal. Like, these people are going to vote him in just to have a voice or whatever. But
just because, just because.
Yeah. And they're coming out and saying we don't want Polyev because Polyev's just an Easterner. He's just all about Ottawa.
I laugh at that so freaking much. Actually, I can swear, correct?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I fucking laugh at that because it's so fucking hilarious. He came here to Alberta. Alberta even said we don't even want you here. Like we don't give two shits. Like, yeah, he maybe won, but what's he gonna do?
He won, but with less percentage than the incumbent who stepped down to give him his seat because they knew it was a slam dunk. And he's just like anyone who doesn't want to see the conservatives, like the federal conservatives, succeed, are celebrating that he's in because his popularity is as good as the Cheeto down south. So you're not going to have good leadership if he's named the leader. It's going to be a slam dunk for Carney and the Liberals because this guy is not popular at all. And he basically is showing that he doesn't give a rat's ass about where he is. He just cares about the power, the privilege, and the position.
Oh, he's showing that really. Well, he showed that really clearly, especially to us Indigenous peoples. He doesn't give two rat's asses about us at all.
No, and neither do the separatists.
And Treaty 6, like coming, like talking about all of it. Treaty 6 right now, we're fighting back. We're taking him to court.
100%.
Right.
So we're talking about the Treaty 6 here. Let me just find. We have the file. We're just going to share our screen here of the letter that was presented by the would be the chiefs, would it not?
Yes, it would be. Yep.
So we've got that there, and that. So let's go here. Share screen.
While we're looking it up, though, there's someone just joining conversation. Victoria King. Welcome to Turtle Island, President Putin. May you feel productive during your stay.
Yeah, I just like I don't understand that at all.
President Putin.
Yeah.
Anyways,
they're taking this.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's not going on the main chat anyway. So there is the document. Let me just see if we can make that a little bigger so it can be read. All right, so I'm looking at it from one window to a next. Okay, you can read that. I can read that. Do you want me to read this?
Yeah, because I can't really see because I'm using my phone.
You want to read it?
No, you can read it. I can't see.
So I'll do the reading. You can do the explanation. How's that sound?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I'll do the best I can.
Okay. So the press release from the Confederacy of Treaty Number 6 First Nations fighting Alberta separatists in court. So this came on August 15th from the Treaty Number 6 territory. The Confederacy of Treaty Number 6 First Nations will file an official application to intervene in the courts against a proposed referendum question regarding Alberta separating from Canada. Court of King's Bench Justice Colin Feasby has ruled that a full hearing on the constitutionality of the question will take place. In solidarity with other Alberta First Nations, the Confederacy of Treaty Number 6 holds the question of Alberta separation to be unconstitutional, illegal, and a threat to treaty. Separation of Alberta from Canada would be a breach of Crown's treaty with First Nations as set out in Treaty Number 6. It goes into we'll continue unchanging opposition and we will not be idle. So very much in that stance. So when we're looking at the Constitution Act, it's a threat to Section 35 of the Constitution Act, which protects First Nations rights, and a violation of treaty, which are sacred legal binding commitments. I think that's pretty self-explanatory for those of us that use critical thought, but how about you able to explain that a little further?
Yeah, so I'll do the best I can. Mind you, I'm also still learning about all this kind of stuff as well. But yes, I am Samson Cree Nation Treaty Number 6. We just went to powwow just recently, and this goes into this whole release. I've noticed that we removed the Alberta flag from our 3 poles. All that flies now is Samson Cree Nation and Treaty 6 flags. So
Right.
we're angry because it's infringing upon what we've had for over 100 years now. Like, we're able to live, we're able to hunt, gather, live our lives. We were able to have our ceremonies back again. And with the separatist talk, it may take that away from us again. I mean, like forcing us back to the 1800s, where we were stripped of all of that. When it comes to the separatists as well, it doesn't make any sense, honestly.
No.
From our perspective, we've been, well, I'll just be honest. We've been screwed over by the Canadian government when it came to Confederation. And then when Alberta came in, we got even more screwed over. And like now we finally have our rights back. Now we got to fight for it again. And it's like, what's with these white supremacist separatists and their desire to wipe out our people? My people, sorry. Well, I say our people too, because, you know.
It is our community, right? So when you say my people, our people, like even though I'm white, it's still our brothers and sisters. They're just not. We're brothers from another mother, sort of, sisters from another mister, sort of.
Well, we're allies and friends.
Yes,
right? We're allies
and again, I don't like to use the word ally because it can be
misquoted. Yeah, that's true.
Accomplices. We are accomplices in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, I guess that's illegal, but whatever.
We've always had, like, if anybody, like the separatists too, and the white supremacists, they should be looking at the history of Canada and how we've always resisted, no matter what. Like, look at Oka, look at BC, look at, like we talked about earlier in our previous podcast, we always resist against what we feel is very, very against our way of how we are as Indigenous peoples.
Right.
And if there's anybody that, you know, should be listened to and like should have any decision on Turtle Island, it should be Indigenous peoples.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to governments as well, they should be following what's even most of the Canadian Constitution, and believe it or not, when it comes to these megas and all the kind of people, all of their laws, all the rules, like their what is it called? Their not Bill of Rights. What do you call it in America? Their Constitution.
The Constitution.
Yeah, it's based off of the Iroquois, and Iroquois are Canadians. They just changed a few words to make it more whitewashed, but it's all based on Indigenous laws. So they should be listening to Indigenous peoples because they're following our laws in the first place.
Understand.
So, right? And with treaties, I'm proud of my nation for fighting back because at this point, it has to be done. And it has to stop at some point where, like, people need to just learn. Like, sit down and learn. Like, they think, oh, well, it was a white man that created all these laws and rules and regulations, stuff like that. Well, like the modern day stuff, yeah, definitely. But in the beginning, it was following Indigenous law.
Right. So I'm just going to share this thing that popped up on our Facebook feed, and this is where the discussion of the where we're looking at the separatist side and the ones that want to have independence. So This shows what they're claiming is the First Nation reserve lands are a very small percentage of Alberta. They're saying that it's 6%, that the only lands in Alberta that are First Nations are yellow.
It's not. It's treaty land.
Of course,
all of it treaty land.
Like if you look at our design, when it comes to the Indigenous sovereignty in Alberta, we have the treaty map, which totally like you're not showing. Like they're saying First Nations reserve, so you're claiming that the reserves are the only lands that are protected. This is basically so if Indigenous decide to go on to decide, like for whatever reason, so we had Smith meeting with, was it Treaty 8 in Slave Lake?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And some group met with Smith. I don't know who it was. That's their thing. So if more people go with the separation of Alberta from the country, that's what they're claiming, that's what the Indigenous land's going to be. If we are separate in Alberta, that's what your land's going to be. So it's going to be no different than what the federal government does did in regards of segregating people to reservations.
Yep, and that's another key point I want to bring up as well, is they think that reservations is what constitutes Indian land. No, it's not. Yes, we were on reservation, but reservation land actually is huger than they realize, and also it goes back into the treaty land. So, like, yes, I'm from Musqueam, right? Musqueam is huge. It's not what they think it is. It's huge, actually. And that's just part of Treaty 6. Treaty 6 also encompasses many other different nations as well inside of it. So it expands even bigger. So this rhetoric that, like, I love that you pointed it out. They think it's the small little dot. Small little dot.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that. No, it's not. That's just where we were forced to go to. But under Crown law, actually, Alberta is split mainly between 6 and 7, which is huge. It goes to the mountains, it goes to the Saskatchewan, and even beyond Saskatchewan border that they have for the federal reasons. Well, I don't know why they did that, but anyways, it's huge. It's all treaty land, it's all Indian land, and they think that, I don't know what they're thinking.
Well, and we'll share this one too, because, just because this is very timely. So if you look here, and this is the explanation coming from the Independent Alberta group. Treaty lands, excluding the reserves, military reserves, and national parks, were signed over and seceded to the federal government in the late 1800s. Then in the 1930s, the lands were transferred to the Alberta government. They no longer belong to the First Nations.
Oh my God.
After Alberta independence from Canada, during the obligatory negotiations on the terms of Alberta's departure, the First Nations may elect to go with one of these three options. Have the feds continue to manage the agreement with the First Nation reserve land. Have the new Alberta Nation manage the agreement with the First Nation reserve land. Negotiate new, more modern agreement with the new nation of Alberta.
They're forgetting one key, simple fucking thing. They have to talk to the Crown. They can't do that.
Exactly.
And
they're claiming that the
Crown
transferred it to the Alberta government, which is totally false, because if the Crown transferred it to the Alberta government, then the Alberta government would have been on the hook for all the residential, Truth and Reconciliation compensation.
Yeah, and undrip, pulling, all of these things. So if they want to do that, they're held responsible.
Yeah.
And they don't have the reserves to compensate all the survivors from foster home to residential schools to day schools, to compensate victims, or even to set up a system where they can help Indigenous peoples with traumas. Because all they care about is they just want a white-run fucking country that doesn't even fucking want to exist. If you look at it, like what we're talking about with Forever Canada, right?
Yep.
Like you see a lot of people who are just like, what are you guys even smoking right now?
Yeah.
Like fuck's sake. Like, you think that we have this huge reserve because we have oil and gas? It's gonna run out.
Oh,
and then what are you gonna do?
And then what are you gonna do? Not like the article from John Auger there, they're talking about like one of the things that people need to understand. The biggest thing is the reserves of not reserves like as in reservation, but the royalty reserves. And so it has been documented that when the best premier in this province's history is, there's been no no doubt about that, would have been Peter Lougheed. And under the Lougheed government, they had a 35 to 45% treasury or take or whatever of the royalty reserves. Under the Klein government, that went down to like 20%. Under the Smith government currently, we're looking at an 8 to 10% royalty reserve. So you went from 45% under Lougheed when Alberta was the strongest it's ever been to 8 to 10, which means that all this foreign investment and all these oil and gas companies that aren't Alberta, like everyone's like, oh, proud to be Alberta made, Alberta proud and whatever. These oil and gas companies aren't. The employees sure as hell are. And don't get me wrong, I stand behind every one of the employees that isn't trash.
Yeah, obviously.
In regards to getting a fair wage, and like this isn't about taking away the employment or like the revenue from the workers. This is about keeping the frickin' oligarchs and the robber barons accountable. And right now, under the Smith government, they're nowhere near accountable. And that's why they have to steal from education and from healthcare and AISH and all these other things, because they let all these foreign companies own the supposed Canadian energy companies and take the money out and take all the resources with them. So when we're looking at when it went from the PC party to the NDP back in 2016, that was one of the biggest arguments I had against the Rachel Notley government, is they didn't do a royalty review quick enough. So when the price of oil went in the tank, which it was going to be, you budgeted all your analysts on oil at a certain dollar amount per barrel, which was 3 times what the amount actually was. So of course you're going to be in a deficit, because all your projections are based on faulty information. So when I said, hey, if your price of oil is going to be on average $70 a barrel, and that's not really good or whatever, like you want it to be $80, $90 a barrel, but on average it's $70 a barrel. If it drops down to 50, you still have some wiggle room. But if you are got a royalty review, or you haven't royalty reviewed it, and you're still basing your budgets on a price of oil at $90 to $99 a barrel, and the price of oil went down to $49 a barrel, you're fucked. And that's what people don't get, is the fact that all these budgets are based on the analysts projecting what the price of oil will be when the dollars are needed. And so if you are doing projections on, that's great if you have potential money coming in. That's always a good thing. I mean, from a guy who worked in sales under commission, and everything was, what are you projecting? What do you have for potential clients this week? And that's what you had to do. You had to send in lists of what money you were going to bring in. And that was what you were basing your numbers on, was your potential, right? And we know that not every potential dollar is going to come in. And you sure as hell can't feed your family on potential dollars. That's why I haven't worked for a commission-based structure in 2 decades, because I refuse to. I'm like, if I'm going to work for a company that wants to have this guy who in the past brought in tens of millions of dollars for other companies, then you're going to pay me a salary so I can pay my bills and I have a living wage. Not, I'm going to need to get the biggest sale out there and have unscrupulous dealings to make those sales because I'm desperate, because that's the only way I'm going to get a paycheck. So what we have right now is a government of used car salesmen. And it started with Kenny when he brought in the used car salesman dude who was on one of the blue ribbon panels of talking about how we need to educate our kids and learning how to sell cars. That's what our government is a bunch of used car salesmen. And we know what used car salesmen are notorious for, correct?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So this is what, when I'm looking at what the separatists are doing, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to sell the indigenous people a bill of goods, which, if we go historically, what was
it has never fucking worked out for us in the end. We always get fucked over. They make this deal, they make this promise. They promise, oh, we're going to support you and help you. You guys won't ever have to struggle, and we're going to compensate you for whatever. And next thing you know, the minute they get into power, we get fucked over again.
Yep. 100%. And that's one of the arguments these separatists are saying is, well, why do you want to go back to these treaties that were done under these terrible conditions for you? Because the treaties are what has provided us some sort of security in having land, and having access to resources. If we didn't have, if we threw out the treaties, you're fucked.
Have you also noticed as well that most of the separatists are racist old white men because they just don't care. They really do care. And that's what I've been seeing this entire time, is just these people. Every time we show up, like my wife and I, we show up and we just stand there. We get the most ugliest stares, like oh look, it's just an Indian not going to work. It's a fucking Saturday. Come on. And even just walking around the city, but even just driving my vehicle, all I get is stares, because it's like, what the hell? And then they profess they want this unity and they want this and all that.
Your vehicle has a message on it.
Yeah, well, even just walking around with my
your vehicle doesn't have fuck Carney or fuck Trudeau on it, so you're not part of them.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, I'm used to that at this point. Like, I'm 32. I'm used to this at this point. Like, that's why I'm standing so hard, because I'm like, I've had to see this happen over and over and over with elections after election after election, promise after promise. Like, look at Trudeau. Like, I hate him just as much as the separatists do. I hate his fucking guts. He lied to us. And on the September, like next month, which is Every Child Matters month, he wasn't there. He was off vacationing. So I'm like, how could I trust the NDP or Liberals? Like, when I can't even I don't even trust the conservatives. Well, I never trust the Conservatives because they're just assholes.
They're awful. They do whatever. I mean, so. With that being said, there are conservatives that aren't evil.
That's true.
There are.
Every political party, there is. Well, in every political party, there's bad apples and good apples.
Yeah.
Right. There are some people who will fight for us. Sorry, go ahead.
More bad apples in that bunch, like the whole bunch. So it's like one bad apple will ruin the bunch, right? So that's why the conservatives suck so bad, is because they've got many bad apples that just poison it. So any good apple is never going to be picked because they're covered in sewage from the poisoned apples.
Yeah. That's unfortunately, that's what I like. That's why when it came with, for example, when Carney stood up to Trump, I was like, oh hell yeah, because he's keeping Canada from being the 51st state. Yet at the same time, he went behind him. What was it, Bill 5 that was going on there? I think it was Bill 5. But he was doing a double deal where it's like, okay, on one hand, we're gonna, tell Trump to fuck off. But at the same time, oh yeah, indigenous people, go fuck yourselves. It's like, what the fuck? No matter what you look at how you look at it, we're always screwed over.
100%. So, didn't like the Putin comments, but Victoria, we appreciate these ones. Absolutely, long live the decision from the Supreme Court of Canada in regards to. Please, you are our Indigenous expert, NJ. Please pronounce those words correctly for me.
So it's Anishinaabe Huron Treaty, Turtle Island.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I don't want to. I never want to do that. And so, in this unanimous ruling, they breached the Robinson treaties by failing to increase annuity payments to the Anishinaabe of the Upper Great Lakes, establishing a legal duty to negotiate compensation for these breaches. So that is one of those Supreme Court decisions that we celebrate. We celebrate the decisions in British Columbia where the government of BC lost to the Cowichan First Nations in regards to land enrichment. So,
that was, for me, that was a really great fucking thing to wake up to. I was like, yes!
The only problem with that is the fact that now the government is appealing it, of course. And they're going to lock them in further legal days, which means whatever wins that could be considered monetary value for the Cowichan First Nation, would go to legal fees.
Yeah, and well, the biggest thing I've seen too is when it comes to our brothers and sisters in the NBC, they have never quit.
No,
and I love that. And yes, here in Alberta, we still struggle to unify and fight back, but we're doing it now. And like for me personally, I look at the Haida Gwaii. Who were in Richmond again? What tribe was that again?
There's the Cowichan, the Cowichan First Nations from Vancouver Island.
Right. So that's like people like myself who want to fight back and are willing to, because there's hope, because we do have a chance.
Yeah.
And like that goes back to our conversation, I think the last podcast, where we're getting more educated, knowing how to fight back properly. Right. Not properly, fight back smart.
That the Indigenous people are learning how to fight in the white man's world.
Precisely. And every single time we fight, like look at Oka, we always win. Even though we were defeated, we always win. Because the message out and the country unifies behind the Indigenous peoples. Except for the white supremacists and racists and people like that. But I can't believe people are not realizing just how many times we've always risen up. Yes, we've been beaten down, but we're always here to fight back again for another day. We take a break, we come back and fight another day.
Well, and this is what we're looking at. Like this is the future of Alberta. Let's be real here. That it's going to be who's on the right side of history here, because the Indigenous people, with the exception of some of the ones that have already been bought and paid for by the Smith government, the others, though, that are members of treaties 6, 7, 8, and 10 will fight till the end to ensure the treaty rights and the Indigenous sovereignty in Alberta does not be separated.
Precisely.
And so we need to be on the right side of history. And the only reason, and I'll call it right now, the only reason why Smith and the separatist group that she's playing footsie with right now, I mean, I can't call Danielle Smith a separatist because there's no direct proof on her being a separatist. She's used a lot of language. She's very much done what the Cheetos done in the States, basically the Project 2025 playbook in regards of firing up the base and knowing what they want to hear. But she hasn't come out and said that she's for a separate nation. She knows that's 100% treason, right? Knows this is, as much as she's clueless in some aspects, she's at least got enough advisors telling her, don't come out and say this because you could be charged with treason if you fire up, like if you come in full support. So
well, speaking on that too, like I just want to give some information too with the town halls. Her spokesman, I say person because I see he's disgusting. Anyways, what he's doing is anybody like speaks out against what Dan Smith is trying to push, they shoot down people, call them like stupid and idiotic. Like how dare you say that? And like cut off the mic. Like they're silencing people. But what I want to tell people right now through our live is keep going, keep speaking. Let them reveal to everybody because everyone's gonna say it anyways.
Yeah.
And just be like, look, they don't care about you. They don't care about Indigenous peoples. They don't care about anything. They just want their 5 minutes of fame. So keep speaking and ask the hard questions. Like, and that's what we're doing with our live podcast here is ask the hard questions. Like, why do you not care about disabled Canadians or Albertans? Sorry. Well, because it's about Alberta. So why don't you care? Why don't you care about teachers? Or why don't you care about anything or just livelihoods? All you care about is keeping power.
With that being said, and then we go to that, because people need to understand that we can't go with the us versus them mentality, right? This is what people want. They want, oh, we're the good guys, you're the bad guys, they're the good guys, whatever the case, pick a side. We can't pick a side other than the side of the people. That's this is a side that no one's choosing right now. So when we talk about the federal government, and so far, Mark Carney, our current prime minister, who I registered as a Liberal member so I could vote for him in the leadership campaign. So I chose him to be the leader of the Liberal Party, to knowing that he was going to become prime minister, has been an embarrassment so far when it comes to dealing with those in poverty and those disabled.
Yeah.
And it's not getting any better.
No, it's not.
And so when people are saying, oh, you're just a liberal or whatever, I am the most anti-liberal, but I'm not anything, because I don't like any people or any there's no political party right now that has my 100% support.
Yeah, it's the same with me. I can't trust any of them because, like, coming from an Indigenous perspective, we've always been fucked over by every single political party ever in Canadian history. They always make these lavish promises, and then as soon as they get in power, they turn around and either try to take Indigenous lands, poison our waters, poison our food supplies. That when we're hunting for, like, just to live, they poison it because there's oil spills, and they just don't care. And it's like, for me, we need something different, that actually we have somebody in power who will sit down and talk. That's the whole fucking point.
The whole thing is that's the key piece, right? Is have someone in power. We need to not elect someone for power. We need to elect someone to represent.
Yeah, sorry. Coming from my perspective, you're right, though.
Like, when you're talking about, and you can speak more about this, I'm still learning everything I can about the Indigenous culture and the ideals of Indigenous leadership. It's about caretaking. It's about having, and number one, it's about led by matriarchs. So that's the first mistake that governments make, is the fact that, yes, Smith is supposedly a matriarch, but you have to choose someone who's actually looking for what's best for the citizens. Clearly she's not, but it's the matriarchal aspect, and utilize the individual for what they do best. So if you're a hunter-gatherer, if you are a gardener, if you're a baker, you're a sower, any of these things that are needed in society, then you have your place, right? And that's the origination of, like, when we look at and I'd consider myself one. I know my father-in-law, creator rest his soul, he was one too, is what that the new age dad or the new age man, right? That is can be rough and tough and whatever, but can cook, can clean, can sew, can do these things. I can't sew but I cook like there's no tomorrow. I'm a hell of a cook. But and I provide nourishment for my family, and I cook huge meals. I've owned a restaurant. I've done things in the food industry, so I'm very good with cooking. Couldn't fix a car to save my fucking soul. I mean, now they're all computerized, so it doesn't matter. But I'm not a mechanic. But give
Yeah.
me a computer, and I can find shit. Like I can do stuff. I can edit stuff. Like I can do things electronically. So,
right. So let me speak on that then, right, real quick, because you're asking about the Indigenous perspective, how we do things with leadership. Right, yes. There is a prime example. So, yes, the matriarchs are the ones that are going to be like they don't have power, like they're not taking the power, but they're guiding us to what we can do as a collective. So, like myself, I'm good at creating events and helping and doing what I can. You are good with technology, so what we say in Cree is "wafin," which means leader, right. And it's a position that it's not like followed by how colonialism does it. It's we see what you can do, so that's what you're going to do, and if you're okay with it, then 100% go ahead. And then when it's not needed anymore, then it switches, and everyone's still the same. Like no one is like, oh well, like for an example, let's look at the Canadian government. There's not one person who has the say all end all. Mm-hmm. It has to be decided by everybody. And I think, well, as far as I can understand, because I'm still learning myself, but that's how like elections should be. It's people elect people that are right for the position, and the minute they start abusing their power or abusing what their limitations are, they're immediately removed. Mm-hmm. And watching what's happening in Alberta here, I'm just like, oh shit. But anyways, that's how Indigenous things are supposed to be working. Is we don't get chosen by a white person in power. It's chosen by the people who trust and have belief. And it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed like 3 years or 2 years or even not even like 4 months. It's based on how you're able to help the people. And when you no longer can, it's not a bad thing to be told, okay, we're going to find somebody else to, take the next step going forward, because everyone does something good, right?
Right.
That's how it all starts out. And
that's where the Americans, their political system is as flawed as it is. That's one of the things that I wish Canada had in part of is what they have their midterms. Mm-hmm. So the shift in power goes like, yes, you have a president that's going to be there for 4 years, but the Congress and the House are only, or the Congress and Senate are only, their switch every 2 years. So no one's going to get it. Like you're not going to have full power for your full term. Unless you have all, like right now, the Republican Trumplican party has all three sides. But the midterms are coming up. He's the most disliked, unpopular president in history. The only one less popular than him was his first term. So that's how terrible this fucking guy is. Yep. But the midterms are going to come up, and that's where, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like when we're looking at the overall grand scheme of things, without independent or a coalition style, it doesn't fucking matter. You get rich freaking politicians in there that are just going to do the bidding for the rich. It doesn't. So what you're saying, and I 100% agree. Like if we look at a coalition type government, yes, it's decided who's the chair, or who's the chief, who's whatever the term you want to use.
I typically use Wathen because that chief to me sounds like a colonial term.
Yeah. Okay. So who's the Waffen of our parliament, right? So instead of having a prime minister, we have a Waffen, and it's a coalition government. So it's like ultimately, I don't want any parties, or I want 100 parties. Either have no parties or have 100 parties. So everyone is represented equally. So the chances of you having a majority government is pretty slim because you're not under a party banner anymore. You're under different structure. So you wouldn't have these mass majorities that what we're dealing with here in Alberta.
Right now, Alberta right now, the thing that is confusing for me is they're making it sound like that there's a huge crisis in Alberta right now, but there's no crisis, and that's what they're pushing for. They're trying to find a crisis leader, and Darrin Smith is trying to do that.
There is a crisis. That's the difference, though. But the crisis isn't being talked about. The crisis is the economy and the lack of jobs and the lack of access to subsidy or lack of a living wage. That is the crisis, but no one's talking about that.
That's exactly that's why I asked that question, though, is because that's where I'm trying to figure out, because they're worried about the separatist thing. They're trying to separate, but that's not going to solve the fucking issue. It's going to make it a whole lot worse.
Yep.
So instead of focusing on, we should separate, how about figure out what the real crisis is, which is what you just spoke about. So that should be the fucking main talking point.
Well, and people, because we are just regurgitating information, or people are regurgitating information, and in this province with our influencers on social media, that's what we get, is just regurgitated bullshit from their point of view. And because it's either fucking lunatic, separatist, Christian right, whatever, racist, you name it. They're coming from the not trash or trash perspective. And then if they're not trash, they're just coming to more better, like I'm better than you sort of thing. And we're better, or our team's better than you because we don't do these things. But your team's still shit. Yep. The fact that you guys are all no one's looking at how the hell do we get people out of poverty? You're looking at, how are we going to pay for this new arena for the Calgary Flames? How are we going to increase revenue and tax more people and get more businesses and make Alberta great again? Both sides are looking at that. Some sides are wanted to go back to the 1930s and 40s, where it was the religious right. Others wanted to go back to the 1980s, where it was the yuppie frickin' stock market bros. No one wants to go back to, or wants to make it where, holy shit, we're not struggling anymore because we've taken care of the people that are in the most need. Like the fact that Calgary is sitting there at a 37 or 38% population use of the food bank?
Yep.
Like, how big is Calgary? Like, it's 4 million people?
I don't know, but it's pretty big. Yeah.
Let's say several million. We'll go with that. I believe the last thing was about 4 million people. And we'll go population 2025. Thank you, awful Google. Well, they say it's estimated at 1.6 million. I mean, if you got your greater area, I don't know. I think it's bigger than that. But even at 1.6 million, you've got 35% of 1.6 million that are in need of a food bank.
Yeah.
In supposed to be the energy center of North America. Like this great place with employment, and like when the start of the current attack on the Ukraine happened, and we had Ukrainian refugees, where were they? They were all touted to go to Calgary. And now that they're in Calgary, there's nothing for them, because oil companies, they don't give a fuck about Calgary. They don't give a fuck about anything but their profits. When you're running on a capitalist system that is all pro-profit, that's all you care about, is how much can the shareholders make, and how big is my house going to be, and can I afford my new yacht, and can I afford that next trip, and that's it. I don't give a fuck about my employees. I don't give a fuck about this. I'll walk over someone who's dying in the street to get to my Jag. I don't give a fuck, as long as I'm making money, because that's we're all living in, if you ever seen the movie Wall Street, that's the mentality here. or Glengarry, Glen Ross, or Boiler Room. It's survival of the strongest. And the strongest are the ones that hold all the money.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they hold the money is because they fucked over a bunch of people to get it. So I was watching the other day, and I shared it because people were talking about Taylor Swift and how we shouldn't hate on Taylor Swift for being a good business person. I'm not going to hate on Taylor Swift because she's a fucking billionaire. And there's no such thing as a billionaire who's not fucking evil. That's what people need to understand. When you're talking about billionaires.
I'm going to say, because it needs to be said too, she's also a Zionist supporter.
Well, we're not. I'm not even going political, or I understand that. I mean, there's so many people that the Zionist and whatever, like, because it's politicized. Even just going to the exact thing of sitting here, going on her fucking boyfriend's podcast with his brother and breaking the fucking the internet and getting the most views, and it was like at 1 million views in like 7 hours, and she's going to have a new album and all this shit, and she's going to go on tour and make more fucking billions of dollars. And yeah, she's given some stuff to charity, and that's whatever, but the whole concept is, if those fucking billionaires pay their proper fucking taxes and don't exploit people, number one, there shouldn't be billionaires because it's all exploitation. Number two, if you paid your fucking taxes and took care of things, we wouldn't need fucking charity. So you being the one who, like, when did we decide that fucking oligarchs and the robber barons should be the holders of the money that help us survive?
That's a good question. I never decided that because I just fucking wanted to live my life. I'm Indigenous, so I just want to live on my land.
So when we're looking at the economy and the struggle, inflation rate has gone down since Carney's come in. The price of groceries have fucking skyrocketed. Now they're claiming it's tariffs. I'm going, explain to me, you greedy piece of fucking shit, owner of Loblaws, Galen Weston, you bag of crap, or Jim Pattison, or fucking the awful fucking people that own Sobeys that fucking stole it, that claim they're Indigenous because they have some Indigenous representation somewhere on their board, but they're fucking awful fucking oligarchs as well.
Oh my God. That always happens too. Every time they need something from the Indigenous people, or they want to look good, they always have a token. That's what I was trying to say last time. 2 podcasts ago. They have a token Indigenous person on their board every single time. Anytime they get called out, anytime that's like, oh shit, people start asking questions, there's always one token BIPOC person or Indigenous person on it. And then they have the person speak up.
Yep. They're the voice of the organization, and they're the ones that have to sell society why they're fucking greedy. And they've chosen to sell out to this organization, and for whatever reason. Not judging them on why they sold out, but judging on them that they sold out.
Yep. So with my people, when it comes to that kind of conversation, the everyday common Indigenous person, we're always watching.
Yeah.
And every time we get screwed over, we can see there's always one sellout that gets paid out millions of dollars by a company, and next thing you know, our lives are even harder. And then when we say anything, it's like, oh, we got to shut them up. It's like, oh my God, my fucking creator, are you serious? Sorry, I didn't mean to use my the crazy and we get silenced because if we speak out, the person that sold out just gets more power. And it's like, okay, take the power away, listen to your people. Yes, money, you may get this lavish lifestyle, you may get this lavish car, and you may get whatever you want, go out and party with your friends and pay your buddies off and whatnot. End of the day, what you gonna have? When somebody's gone, everyone's gonna leave you.
Yeah.
Well, and so then what do you do?
When you die, you don't take the money with you.
Exactly. So having people who don't care about money, who don't care about billionaires like oligarchs and all that kind of stuff trying to pay us off. If these people are very like they're out there, but we're always stunned because they can always find somebody who's going to sell out.
Yeah. And
no matter what.
that's the key. I mean, this is why we're having this conversation. This is why, and my surprise for you, in hopefully next week, but in the coming weeks, we're going to have angry Indigenous woman join us on the stream. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, you've seen their social media posts, man. They do not like pretendians. They call out everyone. They're like, sisters, this is time to stop letting the fucking sellout Indigenous man run the world. Like, they are going to, people are going to need to tune in because it's going to be a fucking very good education. I'm ready to learn. We'll just leave it at that because it's going to be me going, here's where I'm coming from. Here's where NJ's coming from. NJ, you're going to say the same thing. And then we're going to let our matriarch fucking run it because I want to be able to amplify their voice because right now they're getting shut down on Meta and they're getting shut down on fucking social media. And their voice right now is very important to be heard.
Good. I said, well, I'm saying 100%. I'm excited because we're going to start with a smudge.
We're going to start with a smudge. We're going to have a drink together. It's going to be like we're going to do ceremony first, and then we're going to get into the shit.
Oh yeah, not to get into the nitty gritty of what needs to be talked about. And I'm
100%. And where they're coming from, I don't know. But they're very like, are they Canadian? I don't know where they originate because they're very much this broad representation of the Indigenous population, right? So this it's going to be interesting. I'm excited. I'm pumped. So like, I just reached out and said, hey, we got this, and they're like, oh, I'm interested. Here's the email. Did an email conversation, so we're hoping to get the email back that they'll be on next week. If we are, we'll promote the shit out of it. But if not, it'll be in the coming weeks. But soon we will be joined by an angry Indigenous woman, and fuck, it's going to be angry. I love being angry, especially when it has a purpose. And it's not like I was talking with my wife and saying like, because my voice, it doesn't matter what group or whatever, from the Forever Canadian to fucking Enough is Enough to whatever. They don't want me there. And my wife's like, well, because you come across unhinged. I'm going, I'm controlled unhinged. Like, you haven't seen me fucking unhinged. So I'm angry and I'm passionate, but it's controlled. So when people think that you and I are out of control, fucking no, there's no way we're out of control.
Well, I would say you're more passionate than angry, though. I would say you're more passionate. Angry is just, I would say instead of angry, I'd say you're more frustrated and you're passionate. And you're saying what needs to be said and hoping that people will listen because it has to be said.
People don't want to hear what needs to be said. That's the problem. People want to be sugar-coated. And like I fucking had one of the designs years ago, I don't sugarcoat shit. I'm not Willy Wonka. So
I hope not.
No, there's no sugarcoating here. Like, the truth sucks, man. I don't like having to share the truth because it fucking sucks. Honestly, I don't want to tell people that our world is fucking collapsing and like better times are ahead or what. Like, I would like to be able to be more positive. And but when voices like yours and mine and Angry Indigenous Woman and Native Calgarian, like when these voices are fucking muted or strangled, just to amplify the voices that basically fucking spew the NDP or the progressive fucking messaging, that's a problem. And we need to.
And the most important part to remember as well is as we work together, we have to watch out for people who are trying to hijack everything too, like our messages, right?
Yeah.
And just being aware and
here's the thing: if they hijack this message, that's good because we're telling the truth. If they want to hijack the truth, go hard.
Yeah. That's true. No, actually, I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, that's true. Well, there's a good way and a bad way of hijacking.
Yeah, I know.
Bad
Like
way,
they can
you
clip
know what I
us.
mean?
They
Yeah.
can, but I mean, with AI, fuck, they can make me say certain shit that would get me arrested. So it doesn't matter what I say. With the AI technology these days, people can fucking make you say anything.
Yeah, precisely. So we just keep doing what we're doing and working as a collective, because with all our organizations,
Yeah,
like the Alberta Indigenous Alliance, with the Indigenous Sovereignty in Alberta,
yeah.
and with the Native Calgarian, the Angry, what was that again?
Angry Indigenous woman. Yeah.
Angry Indigenous Women, with the Communist Revolutionary Party of Canada. I think I said it wrong. I apologize.
That's okay. It's we know who it is. Henri
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
their comrades.
Yeah, so all of us working together and speaking up and actually giving people who are afraid to speak up a voice, and give them, like, let them know, like, we're not afraid. But I'm not, okay, I can't speak for all of us, so I'm not afraid. I have lived my life, and I'm here to fight, because who else is going to fight?
It's
And
the
if we
fact
work as
that
a team, sorry, go ahead.
I'm not afraid. I'm cautious. I never
Okay,
want
that's probably a
to.
better
I
way
don't
of
want to
saying.
put anyone in danger. Like if people think that, oh, these guys are fucking whack jobs and they're crazy and they might cause shit or whatever. No, we're gonna cause shit. We're gonna cause good trouble. We're gonna make sure that people fucking hear our voices. If we have to scream from the fucking rafters, they're going to hear the message. It doesn't have to be our voices. It's just going to be the message that needs to be shared. That we're not going to fucking take it anymore. This fucking gravy train of corruption that the Daniel Smith and UCP have been running is fucking going to be derailed.
Yeah, it's exactly. I'm looking for more people to help, like, have the courage to speak up too. Like, it's from, like, I'm not a leader in power. I'm just helping people get the courage to be like, it's okay to talk, and that's one thing I'm realizing too.
Even if they don't want to talk, like I said, this is a soapbox. Send us an email, whatever message you want said to this government or to the people that need to be told that if you need to, we need to speak truth to power, because too many people are speaking power to truth.
Yeah. Well, one of my main rules, 3 rules, are truth, honesty, and communication. That needs to always be followed. And so if they want us to speak the truth and want us to communicate and be honest about it, then 100% we will. Oh, I will.
3 words I live by: solidarity with integrity.
Hey, that's a good one too. I actually like that one.
That's the key, man. We can't have solidarity without integrity. So if you have the integrity, we can fucking work and we can make it work. And the last point in regards to the pricing and the gouging and this question for you, it's question for our viewers, question for the fucking oligarchs. How can you justify tariffs on milk that's produced in fucking Canada?
That's exactly it.
We don't have fucking American cows making this milk. The bottles are made fucking here. There's nothing being imported to make fucking milk.
Nope.
So,
my wife, she came from Nova Scotia, and we were driving up to Musqueam and into Edmonton. She's like, every second or third goddamn field is a shit ton of milk cows. I'm like, yeah, because farmers, that's what we do. That's part of our business. There's big cows and then there's milk cows.
With that is big dairy, like everything big, right? So like the Canadian dairy producers, we'll actually on an aside there, we'll get there quickly, but it's the big corporations that direct the shit. So when you get milk here in Alberta, it's not coming from Alberta, it's coming from either Saskatchewan or British Columbia or Manitoba. So they're trucking the shit across provinces, but a provincial should not be a tariff. It's not coming from the fucking states. So that should be the only we're not coming from another country. There's no other country in the country of Canada. They're fucking provinces. They're inter-province trade, which should have been, that was Mark Carney's fucking big selling point months ago that he was going to eliminate interprovincial trade regulations, so we wouldn't have the costs that would to trade between the provinces.
Yeah, exactly.
But the other point was that I don't know if you saw that with the separatist movement, we now have the Alberta beef producers leaving the Canadian beef producers.
Okay, man.
So the Alberta beef producers are leaving the Canadian beef producer group in 2026. And right now, the majority of the revenue going into the Canadian beef producers comes from the Alberta beef producers.
Oh.
So by them removing themselves from basically making themselves a separatist fucking organization, they're going to cripple the Canadian beef producers.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, we're definitely for our next podcast. Definitely, we should put that on our list to talk about, so we know we have more information.
Yeah.
Because this is the first time I'm hearing of this. So
yeah, like I said, this is a shit that comes down, right? I'm paying attention. I don't watch the news anymore. I don't have any fucking time for any of the mainstream media or the corporate fucking propaganda that's been pushed, because all of it is fucking skewed. The only time I'll actually pay attention to media is when the Oilers season's back on, and I'll listen to the fucking games, and then I'll get some of their fucking talk shows. But other than that, I don't listen to the radio. The radio I listen to is in Saskatchewan. So fucking Saskatchewan news I pay attention to, but it doesn't affect me directly. So I'm like, if it's something to do with human rights, absolutely I'm paying attention. But when it's coming to government issues or whatever, it's an aside. I've got an eye out for it, but it's not affecting us directly. But no, according to like local news or not, like I don't watch the news. I pay attention to independent media, and I pay attention to social media by independents, and that's where I get. So most of them regurgitate the fucking news anyway, so I don't have to watch it. They just they'll share the news story. But the other thing is some of these groups that are fucking private or whatever will share shit that isn't public knowledge. And then we get a heads up going, oh, though, that's what you're planning. Okay, now we can talk about that, as opposed to getting blindsided by it when it gets released. So going back to the original topic of Aish, this is why we have these conversations. Why the question of why is the government asking Aish recipients to pay $100 and some odd for a is it a medical form?
Yeah, it's a medical form. So the price goes between 170 to between up to 400.
Okay. And that's applied for the CPP.
No, the disability tax credit.
Right, through Revenue Canada.
Yes, and the thing is, it has to be paid out of pocket, but they're clawing back a lot of money, so they have until next month to actually pay for it. And those who missed the August or September deadline, they're going to lose $200 or more, and the rent is going to be raised up to $400, I believe.
Right.
So it's like, all right, so you're going to make us struggle even harder, and like we get this vast amount, are you going to take it from us too? So It's kind of like the UCP is attempting to get this money so they can take it away from us, so they can use it for whatever they want to do.
Well, and what was it like? Speaking of the NDP, I believe it was Marie Renault of the NDP fucking sent a letter to Nixon, who's the fucking senior community social services, asking about the fucking money, and they refused to comment.
Yep.
So if the opposition MLA, who's in the same fucking position outside of not being in cabinet, that that's not in cabinet, like they're in the same level, right? MLA is the being told they're not going to get the information. What the hell does a regular citizen have a chance to get that information?
Nope. Like all I gotta say is I got a letter out of the blue. I had no idea. I had no idea it was coming, and I was forced to do all this and pay out of pocket, which I couldn't afford. It just they're doing it backdoor deals, backdoor plans and agreements. Next thing you know, people like myself. Next thing you know, we're blindsided.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, wow.
Well, and the blind side's on purpose, right? And we've talked about that.
We did, yeah.
I don't know if you saw the comment. I'm just laughing at the fucking. I caught it off guard. I'm not going to show it on the fucking stream because this guy's a moron. But fucking thank you, blah, 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 for making Trump's dream come true. MAGA 2-time president. Wow. You got to love when you're doing a focused Alberta, Canada, Indigenous Sovereignty live stream, and we've got all the fucking maggots coming in to babble on.
I will. I'm gonna say I'm laughing too because I'm like, this is about Indigenous sovereignty in Alberta and the treaty rights and our allyship, but we're focused on the states. Like,
here you go. Yes, maggot. Yes, you are a maggot. The end. And all the people that you're listed there, just so release the Epstein list. That's all I say. That's you want to talk about whatever, release the Epstein list.
I agree.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh yeah, you just said don't be easy offended.
Lefty. Yeah. It's all good though. Like I said, release the Epstein list.
Well, see,
we know that Clinton's on it. We know that other people in the Democratic Party are on it. We also know the certain person that you're babbling about is on it. So I'm not being rude either. We're calling you a maggot. Oh, Jesus. Now we're going into Satanists and Marxists. Oh, wow. This is fun. But anyway, release the Epstein list. That is all the request. So if you want to...
I also got to say as well, like on my end, I'm about humor and comedy, and this is just humor and comedy to me, and I'm not offended. I'm like, I don't care what you call me. I'm just a human being.
we're gonna have fun here, okay?
Okay.
Communism, Marxism, socialism doesn't work. You know you're wrong, because the only way you have capitalism is through socialism. Ask everyone in 2008 how the bank survived. How did the auto company survive?
That was what happened in 2000 again? I can't remember what it was.
Was the crash?
Oh right, yeah, right. That's right. Oh my God, God and faith. I am not. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, we're thank you for watching. We'll just leave
yeah. Oh my God.
That is some entertaining thing. I hope everyone else is entertained as we are.
Yeah. I'm laughing right now because
that brought us from an angry place to more of a humorous place. So that good job there, Jamo. That was awesome. Thank you for bringing
thank you so much.
humor to this serious topic.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
All right, brother. Well, I have to let you go. My phone's about to die here, so we will.
We're wrapping up. We're good. So.
Okay.
See, again, we're having some good time here.
Boy.
Have a little more time, but we're going to let NJ go. You guys have a safe trip. We'll talk to you when you get back, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Sounds good. I believe our communist comrades are going to be there. So I'm just still in the works to make sure that we are able to coordinate better
And if they can't, we, like I said, I'll have confirmation from Angry Indigenous Woman shortly. So
perfect.
next week or the week after.
Yeah, more people the better. From Treaty 6, thanks for your time, and we will definitely talk again.
Sounds good. Have a good night.
Yeah. Have a good night.
So that, of course, was our brother from another mother, NJ Mahikan, from the founder of the Indigenous Sovereignty in Alberta and co-founder of our Alberta Indigenous Alliance. So as we wrap it up, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We appreciate you, Jamo, for tuning in from the UK. Honestly, it's been a good time. We've been able to converse things and have a thing, and think NJ might have one last thing. Brother, you got one last point?
Oh no, I was just watching the last part of the video.
All right, we will we'll let you go then. All right, so we thank everyone for joining us again. Like, subscribe across the board. If you want to support the channel, go to the Substack and subscribe. Go and buy some merch from babyfoley.ca and shoot us a donation at ko-fi.com/abypoley, or you can donate directly to the GoFundMe for the Alberta Indigenous Alliance legal fund, because we're going to be needing some funds for our members in the near future, as so there's some survivors that are going to need some help, and so we'll put those funds out there and take care of our community as much as we can. Again, JMO, thank you for joining us from the UK. We would love to have you visit Canada, and we appreciate your comments, and no hard feelings, mate. It was Trump is not a person that is appreciated here, but your opinions and your feedback respectfully are appreciated, and so is everyone else. You got a question, comment, shoot us an email, Alberta Indigenous Alliance @gmail.com, and have yourselves a great week. Keep fighting. Keep strong.